1973, the greatest year of live music. Right off the bat, January provided Eric Clapton and his famous concert at the Rainbow Theatre in London. Elvis Presley performed in Hawaii, which was televised globally to an estimated 1.6 billion people. The Rolling Stones gave their very famous benefit concert for the Nicaragua earthquake relief at the LA Forum with Santana opening. In February, Pink Floyd turned heads when they performed with the Petit Roland Ballet in Paris. Bruce Springsteen did his first performance on the West Coast with the E Street Band. March, Black Sabbath was performing at the Rainbow Theatre in London, whereas Alice Cooper and his band were doing an East Coast tour for his $1 Billion Babies tour. Neil Young was playing with Linda Ronstadt at Winterland. April brought the return or the comeback of Frank Sinatra when he performed at the White House. Deep Purple, Fleetwood Mac, and Roy Gallagher were touring together on the West Coast, and Barbra Streisand did a benefit concert for the ACLU. May was the return to England for Paul McCartney when him and Wings performed in England. Johnny Winter brought his Alive and Well tour to the U.S. Humble Pie, Slade, and Steely Dan performed at Winterland. June was Led Zeppelin's epic performance at Kezar Stadium. Also, Mike Oldfield performed Tubular Bells for the first time, and this was the beginning of the Virgin Empire for Sir Richard Branson. July was the Summer Jam at Watkins Glen, where over 650,000 people saw the Allman Brothers Band, the Grateful Dead, and the band perform. David Bowie and his Spider from Mars band performed for the very last time with special guest appearance by Jeff Beck. Led Zeppelin performed 3 nights at Madison Square Gardens, and they filmed their epic movie, The Song Remains the Same. August 1973, Joni Mitchell performed in Topanga, California with Neil Young and his Santa Monica Flyers as her band, and the Eagles were the opening act. In September, at the Crystal Palace Garden Party in London, Beck, Bogart, Appice, Lou Reed, and James Taylor performed. Lou Reed's outrageous performance was credited as the birth of the punk movement. Also, Elton John performed at the Hollywood Bowl, which was a dazzling performance. October, the Rolling Stones performed in West Berlin at the Olympic Stadium. This was the last performance with Mick Taylor in the band. Also, Stephen Stills, while performing at Winterland with his band Manassas for his encore, was the Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young reunion, where they performed 8 tracks for nearly 1 hour. In November, The Who performed at the Cow Palace, the infamous show where Keith Moon passed out, OD'd on stage, and Who fan Scott Thelpin got to fill in for 3 songs with The Who. And then in December, Mahavishnu Orchestra performed for the very last time, and the Allman Brothers Band gave an epic performance at the Cow Palace for 5.5 hours with assistance from Jerry Garcia. Also on New Year's Eve that year, AC/DC performed for the first time at the Exchequer Club in Sydney, Australia, and Journey performed for the first time opening for Santana at Winterland.